Good morning, all of you. Today we will see the parallel operation of DC generators. So, the parallel of in today's class we will see the parallel operation of DC generators and load sharing among them for the continuous power supply. So, in a power plant, generally power is usually supplied from several generators of small ratings connected in parallel instead of a large generator. In modern power system, power is usually supplied by many synchronous generators connected in parallel, which helps to maintain continuity of power, plant operation. In order to avoid the disturbances of continuity of power operations, generally will operate the synchronous generators. They will be connected in parallel. Nowadays what is happening is isolated one large generator is outdated. So when we connect two generators in parallel, that is if we connect two generators in parallel, they have a tendency to remain in step. So by doing some changes in their armature current and by connecting generators properly to the existing bus bar, this problem could be solved. That is, instead of going for a large generator, if we connect two generators in parallel, so that if one gets in that is under repair, one will be remain, so that continuity of supply we can get. So and by doing some changes in their armature current and by connecting generators properly to the existing bus bars, so this problem may be solved. And next, why we'll go for parallel operation of DC generators. So parallel operation of DC generators is required to meet the extra load demand, and it is always difficult to meet extra load demand by a single generator, or it is not possible to give supply when one generator is out of order. If we place one large generator, if it gets any repair, it is difficult to meet the extra load. So that it is always difficult to meet the extra load demand by a single generator. So what will we do? Or it is not possible to give a supply when one generator is out of order. So that we will go for parallel operation of DC generator. Instead of placing one large generator, we are using two single generators in parallel. Okay. So what are the by this parallel operation of DC generators, we can get continuity of service we get. And if a single large generator is used in power plant, then in case of any breakdown, the whole plant will be shut down. However, if the power is supplied from a number of small units operating in parallel, then in case of failure of one unit, the continuity of supply can be maintained by the healthy units. That is why we'll go for, mainly that is the reason why we'll opt for parallel operation, that is continuity of supply or service. And next one, efficiency also we can improve by parallel operation. So generators run most efficiently when loaded to their rated capacity. That is when we are running the generators at their maximum rated capacity, will get the maximum efficiency. So what electrical power costs less per kWh when it happens is when the generator is producing it, when the generator producing it is efficiently loaded. So when the load demand on power plant decreases, one or more generators can be shut down and remaining units can be efficiently loaded. That is, we can observe in the winter season or rainy season, load demand is somewhat less when compared to the summer season. So so what we will do in that season, we will shut down some generators according to the load demand, so that electrical power costs less per kWh when the generator producing it efficiently loaded. So we'll get efficient generators run most efficiently when they are loaded to their rated capacity. And next, to coming to main one more reason is maintenance and repairs. Generators generally require general maintenance, that is frequently it needs maintenance and repair. Therefore, if generators are operated in parallel, the routine or emergency operations can be performed by isolating the affected generator while the load being supplied by the connected other units. So that by doing this, what we get, this leads to both safety and economy point of view also, it is very safe. So generators generally require routine maintenance and repair. So if generators are operated in parallel, the routine or emergency operations can be performed by just isolating the affected generator. The remaining load is being supplied by other units, so that so that we'll get safety and economy point of view also, it is very optable. And next one, we get increasing plant capacity also we get. So in modern world of increasing population, the use of electricity is continuously increasing. When added capacity is required, so the new unit can be simply paralleled with the old units. And in many situations, what happens, a single unit of desired large capacity may not be available. So in that case, a number of smaller units can be operated in parallel to meet the load requirement. And we know a single large unit is more expensive when compared to number of smaller units. So we can increase the plant capacity also. So because nowadays electricity is continuously, usage of electricity is continuously increasing, and when added capacity is required, we need a new unit, so that it can be simply parallel with the old units. And in many cases, a single unit of large capacity, it may not be available. So in that case, what we will do, a number of smaller units can be operated in parallel to meet the load requirement. Generally, a single large unit is more expensive when compared to these smaller units. So why we are going for parallel operation of DC generators means, we can get continuity of service and efficiency also, and maintenance and repair, and increasing plant capacity, and non-availability of single large unit. Okay. In general, in many situations, a single unit of desired large capacity may not be available. So in that case, a number of smaller units can be operated in parallel to meet the load requirement. Okay. So now let us see the connection of parallel DC generators. Here we are going for DC shunt generators. Here we can observe the bus bar. It is connected to a bus bar, and two generators, they are connected in parallel. And next one, field rheostats are also connected to that one. And we have switch operations S1 and S2. Observe in the diagram. The generators in a power plant connected by heavy thick copper wire bars called the bus bars, which acts as a positive terminal and a negative terminals. And to to connect the generators in parallel, positive terminals of the generators are connected to the positive terminals of the bus bars, and negative terminals of the generators are connected to the negative terminals of the bus bars. We can observe in the diagram, that is the generators in power plant, they are connected by a heavy thick copper bars. Those are called bus bars. It is having positive and negative terminals, and positive terminals of the generator are connected to the positive terminal of the bus bar, and negative terminal of the generator are connected to the negative terminal of the bus bar. And next one, to connect the two generators with the one existing working generators, first we have to bring the speed of the prime mover of the second generator to the rated speed. So at this point, switch S4 is closed. Once again I am repeating, to connect the two generators with the one existing working generator, first we have to bring the speed of the prime mover of the second generator to the rated speed, and at this point switch S4 is closed. By closing the switch S4, what we'll do, we'll bring the speed of the prime mover of the second generator to the rated speed. So generator 1 is the existing that is working generator, and we are connecting the second generator, two generators in parallel. So we are doing, S4 switch S4 is closed, and we are bringing the speed of the prime mover of the second generator to the rated speed. Okay, and next one, so shunt generator 1 is connected to the bus bars and supplying the load. When the load on the power plant increases beyond the capacity of this generator, the second shunt generator 2 is connected in parallel with the first to meet the increased load demand. So what is the procedure, how we will get the how we will connect the generator 2 in parallel is, first the prime mover of generator 2 is brought up to the rated speed, and switch S4 in the field circuit of the generator 2 is closed. Next, circuit breaker 2 is closed, and excitation of generator 2 is adjusted till it generates a voltage equal to the bus bar voltage, and it is indicated by the voltmeter 2, that is for the generator 2. Now we have connected a voltmeter, so we can read in the it is indicated by the voltmeter 2. So first S4 switch is closed, so that the prime mover of the generator 2 is brought up to the the prime mover of generator 2 is brought up to the rated speed. Now switch S4 in the field circuit of generator 2 is closed. Next, circuit breaker 2 is closed, that is in the second generator it is closed, and the excitation of the generator 2 is adjusted till it generates a voltage equal to the bus bar voltage. This is indicated by the voltmeter connected to the generator. And next one, now the generator 2 is ready to be paralleled with the generator 1. Now the main switch S3 is closed, and putting the generator 2 in parallel with the generator 1. Here we have to note that generator 2 is not supplying any load because its generated EMF is equal to the bus bar voltage, and the generator is said to be floating, that is it is not supplying any load, so that the generator is said to be floating on the bus bars. So after that is after indication in the voltmeter 2 voltmeter in the second generator, now the generator 2 is ready to be paralleled with generator 1, and now what we'll do, the switch S3 is closed, thus putting generator 2 in parallel with generator 1. Now generator 2 is not at all supplying any load because what is the reason? Its generated EMF is equal to bus bar voltage, and the generator is said to be floating on bus bars. What is floating is it is not supplying any load. And now if generator 2 is to deliver any current, then its generated voltage E should be greater than the bus bar voltage. That is, if your generator 2 has to deliver any current, its generated voltage E it should be greater than the bus bar voltage V. So in that case, the current supplied by it I is E minus V by RA. That is, E should be greater than the V, so that E minus V by RA. And next one, where RA is the resistance of the armature circuit, and by increasing the field current, that is hence we are induced EMF E, the generator 2 can be made to supply proper amount of load. So in the in previous case it is not supplying any load. What we are doing, if generator 2 is to deliver any current, then its generated voltage E should be greater than the bus bar voltage V. So in that case, the current supplied by it is I equal to E minus V by RA, where RA is the resistance of the armature circuit, and by increasing the field current, the generator 2 can be made to supply the load, proper amount of load. Okay, now so the generator 2 is also supplying load. Okay, now the load may be shifted from one shunt generator to the another by adjusting the field excitation. So we are shifting the loads to one generator to another. Thus, if generator 1 is to be shut down, that is, if generator 1 is to be shut down, the whole load can be shifted on to generator 2, provided it has the capacity to supply that load. We have to take care of that one. So in that case, reduce the current supplied by generator 1, that is, reduce the current supplied by generator 1 to 0. So where we will see that the current supplied by generator 1 is 0, that is, one ammeter is connected in the generator 1 circuit, so that in that ammeter we can see that it is reading 0. So open circuit breaker 1, that is S1, it should be open, and then circuit breaker whatever it is connected, that should be open, and then open the main switch S1, so that the generator 1 comes out. Only now the generator 2 only supplying the load. So that is when we want to shift the load from one generator to another, we have to adjust the field excitation. If you want to shut down the generator 1, let us take, the whole load can be shifted onto generator 2, provided it has the capacity to supply that load. In that case, reduce the current supplied by generator 1 to 0. This will be indicated by the ammeter connected in generator 1 circuit, and open circuit breaker 1, and then open the main switch S1. This is how the load sharing takes place. That is the load shifts from one shunt generator to another. Okay, so this is a stepwise procedure, and precautions should be taken when we are supplying the load, and when we are shifting the load from one generator to another, and when we are connecting another generator in parallel with the existing generator, like that. So once again I am repeating how we will get the parallel connection of DC generators, DC shunt generators. So the prime mover of generator 2, the prime mover of generator 2 is shifted to, is brought to rated speed. Now switch S4 in the field circuit of the generator 2 is closed. So first step, prime mover of generator 2 is brought to the rated speed, and S4 switch should be closed. Okay. Next, circuit breaker CB2. Circuit breaker, that is it is not shown in figure, but circuit breaker CB2 is closed, and the excitation of generator 2 is adjusted till it generates a voltage equal to the bus bar voltage. So this we can observe in the voltmeter, which is connected in the generator circuit 2. Okay, and next, that is we are adjusting the generates voltage equal to the bus bar voltage. Now this is now generator is ready to be paralleled with generator 1. The main switch S3 is closed, that is the main switch S3 is closed, and thus putting the generator 2 in parallel with the generator 1. And one point we have to note here, that generator 2 in this case it is not supplying any load, because the generated EMF is equal to the bus bar's voltage, and the generator is said to be floating on the bus bars. And if generator 2 is to deliver any current, then its generated voltage E should be greater than the bus bar's voltage V, and in that case the current supplied by it is I is equal to E minus V by Ra, because E is greater than V, and Ra is the resistance of the armature circuit. And by increasing the field current and hence the induced EMF E, the generator 2 can be made to supply the load. Now that is now the generator 2 is also supplying the load. And now if we want to shift the load of from one generator to another, we have to adjust the field excitation. If we want to shut down the generator 1, the whole load can be shifted onto generator 2. And here one point we have to remember is generator 2 is provided it has the capacity to supply that much amount of load, that we have to take care. In that case, reduce the current supplied by generator 1 to 0. So how we will know that the current supplied by generator 2 generator 1 to 0 is, that is indicated by the ammeter A that is connected in generator 1 circuit. Now open the main switch S1. So this is how the generator 2 is connected in parallel with the generator 1, and how to shift the load from generator 1 to generator 2. This is the parallel operation of DC generators. Precaution should be taken when we are paralleling the DC generators. Once again, the circuit breaker V2 connected across the open circuit open switch S2 is closed to complete the circuit. The excitation of the generator is increased with the help of field rheostat till it generates voltage equal to voltage of the bus bars. The main switch S2 is then closed, and the generator 2 is ready to be parallel with the existing generator. but at this point of time generator 2 is not taking any load, as its induced EMF is equal to the bus bar voltage. The present condition is called the floating, that is it is not supplying ready for supply but not supplying current to the load. In order to deliver current from generator 2, it is necessary that its induced EMF should be greater than the bus bar's voltage V. So by strengthening the field current, the induced EMF generator 2 could be improved and the current supply will get started. And to maintain bus bar voltage, the field of generator 1 is weakened so that value remains constant. Now the field current is given by I is equal to E minus V by RA, and RA is the resistance of the armature winding. Now let us see the load sharing of, in the previous case we have seen the entire load is shifted from generator 1 to generator 2. Now we will see the load sharing of two generators. The load gets shifted to another generator by adjusting the induced EMF, but in modern power plants everything has been done by synchroscopes, which gives instruction to governor of prime mover. Synchroscopes, by means of synchroscopes, what is the purpose of synchroscope? It gives instruction to instruction to governor of the prime mover. Suppose if we take two generators having different load voltage, then the load sharing between these generators will be, we have two expressions. I1 is equal to E1 minus V by R1 and I2 is equal to E2 minus V by R2, and the value of current output depends upon the values of E1 and E3, which could be managed by field rheostats to keep the bus bar's voltage constant. So this is how the load sharing between two generators, that is I1 is equal to E1 minus V by R1 and I2 equal to E2 minus V by R2. Okay. In E1, E2 are the no load voltages of the two generators, and R1, R2 are their armature resistances, and V is the common terminal voltage, that is the bus bar's voltage. So the value of the current output of the generators, depends upon the values of E1 and E3. E1 and E2, which could be, these values may be changed by the field rheostats. The common terminal voltage will depends upon the EMFs of individual generators and the total load current supplied. Okay, so it is generally desired to keep the bus bar voltage constant. How we will get this is by adjusting the field excitations of the generators operating in parallel. Okay, so the common terminal voltage will depend upon the EMFs of individual generators, the total load current supplied, and we have to, it is desired to keep the bus bar voltage constant. How we will get this constant bus bar voltage is by adjusting the field excitation of the generators operating in parallel. Okay, this is how we will connect the DC generators in parallel, and how the load sharing takes place when we connect DC generators in parallel. Next, what are the precautions during parallel operation? So when we are connecting them in parallel, precautions are very important. That is, the specification of each generator is different from the one another, and when they are synchronized together, their speeds are locked into the overall speed of the system. And next one, that is main point, is the specification of each generator is different from one another. Similar generators we cannot, so that is a similar capacity generator we cannot connect in parallel. So when they are synchronized together, their speeds are locked into the overall speed of the system. And next one, the entire load of the system should be distributed in all the generators. That is, the main point is each generator should be equally loaded as per the requirement. We have to distribute the load to each generator almost equally. So one we should not do that one generator is overloaded or one is less load. We have to avoid this. That is, the entire load of the system should be distributed to all the generators, and there should be a controller for keeping check on parameters of the engine. This can be done with modern digital controllers. So we have to proper checking, time to time proper checking is necessary for parallel operation of generators. Okay, and next one, voltage regulation. In a whole system, it is important, it plays an important role. In case of voltage drop in one unit compared with other units, end up bearing the whole voltage load of the system of parallel generators. So voltage regulation is also very important. If in case of any voltage drop in one unit when compared to other units, we have to take care that we have to reduce that voltage drop. So that will leads to entire system voltage drop. Okay, while connecting terminals to the bus bars, extra precaution should be made. If generator is connected with the wrong polarity of the bar, it may result to a short circuit. That is, when we are connecting it, the terminals connecting to the bus bars, we have to take care that the polarity of the bar should be in a proper way. Otherwise, it leads to a short circuit. So when we are connecting the parallel operation, these precautions should be taken. Voltage reading, voltage regulation, and proper checking of the parameters of the engine, and bus bars. When we are connecting terminals to the bus bars, we have to take care of the terminals which are connected, and the entire load of the system should be distributed to all the generators properly, and the specification of each generator is different from one another. So this is about parallel operation of DC generators. And advantages, it is cost effectiveness. Electric power cost reduces when generator produce electricity according to their capacity, and easily manage demand and smooth supply of power, and easy to increase plant capacity, and easy to maintain. Okay, so a smooth supply of power. In case of breakdown of generator, the supply of power will not get disrupted. If something goes wrong in one generator, the continuity of power can be maintained or continued by other healthy units, and easy to increase plant capacity. The demand of electricity is increasing day by day, and to meet the requirement of power generation, additional new unit can run paralleled with the running units, and easy to maintain. The routine maintenance of generator is required time to time, but for that supply of power cannot be obstructed. In parallel generators, the routine checkup could be done one by one. So this is about parallel generation of parallel operation of DC shunt generators. Okay, now let us move to welding generator. So welding generator. So this is the diagram of welding generator. So the welding plant is a self-contained single operator motor generator set consisting of a reverse series winding containing reverse series winding DC generator driven by either a DC or an AC motor, driven by AC or an AC, DC or an AC motor. So it is a single operator motor generator set consisting of in the diagram you can observe a reverse series winding DC generator, and it is driven by either DC or an AC motor, and the series winding produces a magnetic field which opposes that of the shunt winding. An open circuit only shunt field is operative and provides maximum voltage for striking the arc. So the series winding produces a magnetic field which opposes that of the shunt winding, and an open circuit only shunt field is operative and provides maximum voltage for striking an arc. Okay, and next one, so and after arc has been established, current flows through the series winding and sets up a flux which opposes the flux produced by a shunt winding. So here series field winding is also sets up flux, and the shunt field also sets up the flux, but both are opposing. Here we can observe in the diagram opposite directions of currents in the shunt field and reverse series field, and due to decrease in net flux because both are opposing each other, so that next net flux somewhat less. So due to decrease in net flux, generator voltage is decreased. With the help of shunt regulator, generator voltage and current values can be adjusted to the desired level. Matters are so arranged that despite changes in arc voltages due to variations in arc length, current remains practically constant. That is, by using the shunt regulator, generator voltage and current values can be adjusted to the desired values, and changes in arc voltages are due to variations in arc length, and current remains practically constant. Here if you take one workpiece can be made positive and electrode is negative, and if the workpiece is negative and the electrode will be positive, and the selection of electrode as negative or positive depends upon the depth of penetration, how depth it is penetrating required, rate of which the filling material is deposited. So here what about the workpiece? The workpiece can be made positive and electrode is negative, and if the workpiece is negative and the electrode will be positive, and the selection of electrode depends upon as negative or positive depends upon depth of penetration required and rate of which the filling material is deposited. So these are the factors on which the workpiece, whether it is a positive electrode or a negative electrode, or how much depth the penetration required, like that. And here we can observe the VI characteristics of welding generator. So the induced voltage, that is as the current is increasing, the induced voltage is almost constant, and joint position and base metal thickness and that when the certain current is selected from the machine, arc gap should be some points we have to take care. Joint position and base metal thickness and the type of base metal, we have when we are selecting, we have to take care of about these points. That is, in DC welding, the control of the heat generated in the electric arc is by controlling the length of air gap, and when the certain current is selected from the machine, arc gap should be kept constant. If the gap changes, the current across the gap, the heat due to welding also changes. And important point is the sparking voltage is between 60 to 80 volts. The sparking voltage is between 60 to 80 volts. That is, we have to take care of joining position, the base metal thickness and the type of base metal. The control of heat generated in electric arc is controlled by means of length of the air gap. When an amount of current is selected from the machine, arc gap should be kept constant. If the gap changes, the current across the gap, if the gap changes, the current across the gap and the heat due to welding also changes. And one more thing is, generally the sparking voltage lies in between 60 to 80 volts. 60 to 80 volts. This is about our welding generator. So here the welding generator is a self-contained single operator motor generator set consisting of a reverse series winding. DC generator is driven by either DC or AC motor, and series winding produces a magnetic field which opposes that of shunt winding. That is, two fluxes are produced here. One is due to shunt field and another is due to series field, and both are in opposing. And an open circuit, only shunt field is operative and provides maximum voltage for striking the arc. So after arc has been established, current flows through the series winding and sets up a flux which opposes the flux produced by shunt winding. And because of this opposition, net flux also decreases, generator voltage also decreases. With the help of shunt generator, generator voltage and current values can be adjusted to the desired values, and matters are arranged such that despite changes in arc voltage due to variations in arc length, the current remains practically constant. And next one, coming to workpiece, it made positive and electrode is negative, and the selection of electrode as negative or positive depends upon depth of penetration required, rate of which the filling material is deposited. And afterwards we will see the VI characteristics of welding generator, and this is dropped due to armature reaction E versus I. That is dropped due to armature reaction. We can see if armature reaction drop is not there, so it is a constant voltage we can get, and because of armature reaction there is some drop in the voltage. Okay, and next one, advantages. It permits the portable operation, and it can be used with either straight or reverse polarity, and it can be employed on nearly all ferrous and non-ferrous materials, and it can be used a large variety of stick electrodes. It can be used for all positions of welding. Okay, these are the advantages of the welding generator. Next, coming to disadvantages, it has high initial cost, its maintenance cost is high, machine is quite noisy in operation, it suffers from arc flow. And if we observe the welding generators, the welding shops whatever we have near to us, so we'll get some voltage disturbances when they are operating. We get the voltage disturbances due to the inductive nature of the welding, inductive load of this welding generator. So this is also one disadvantage, that is voltage fluctuations. Most of the loads we are connecting here are the inductive nature, so that we will get the voltage fluctuations, we get voltage spikes we will get. So this is about welding generator and parallel operation of DC generator.